You know, anytime someone talks about Manchester City, you instantly think about success, progressive football, and the insane wealth behind them. That being said, if you go back to 20 years ago, you'd be hard pressed to associate these things with Manchester City. Certainly not the powerhouse that they are today. In fact, they were known as a bit of an elevator club, going up and down the divisions. Between 92 and 2002, they went up and down 3 divisions. That's mad. Fast forward to these days, they are an elite club on and off the pitch, and usually the best bet to win the Premier League these days. But that success came with a lot of accusations that it was bought by money. But these accusations don't just end here. We all hear about Man City's lack of history as well, that the club doesn't have a history before their takeover. Obviously, it doesn't help that they were in the shadows of Manchester United, who took the spotlight for a very long time. But the question is, did Manchester City buy their success? Was there a history before their takeover? Well, stick around to find out. Right, so buying success is quite a touchy subject in the world of football. No one wants to hear that their club's success is entirely down to the wealth of one person, but the numbers speak for themselves. At the end of the day, no one can deny that City's takeover was a massive turning point in the club's fortunes. In fact, it was such a massive turning point that it made all the pre-takeover history quite irrelevant, at least to the eyes of neutrals like me. And believe me, I can detect history when I see one. I'm a Milan fan. History is all we talk about. But do Manchester City have a history? Well, to answer that, we need to go back, way back to 1904, when they won the FA Cup and were runners-up in their league title challenge. The FA Cup was massively respected back in the day, way more than these days. Winning the FA Cup was almost equally respectable as winning the league title. But the story also had a dark side to it. Manchester City was punished for a bribery scandal that saw 17 players along with several directors banned from football. So yeah, take that as you will. City returned to success in 1934 by winning their second FA Cup, during which they also broke the record for the highest attendance in one game with 84,000 home fans, a record that was since broken by Tottenham in 2016 in their temporary home of Wembley Stadium. 3 years later, City won their first league title, and they didn't just win it, they dominated it by scoring over 100 goals over that season. At this point, you'd be excused to think that this could be a springboard for Man City to challenge for the league title again. But I guess life isn't always that good, because they were relegated the following season, which was the first time a defending champion team was relegated. It was gonna take quite a while until they would win another FA Cup in 1956. But other than that, the next 3 decades were slow and quite mediocre, to be honest, until one man came along. And no, we're not talking about Sheikh Mansour. Not yet. Enter Joe Mercer, who was appointed as the manager of Manchester City in 1965. The next 6 years is what I would say was the golden period of Manchester City, or at least the golden period before the golden period, when they won the league title in 1968, a Charity Shield in 68, an FA Cup in 1969, and a double of League Cup and European Cup Winners' Cup in 1970. The double winning season was huge for the club, as they won their first ever European trophy as well. In 1974, something interesting happened. In a game against their favorite cousins, Manchester United, City beat United 1-0. That game was significant for 2 reasons. A, that was the match that relegated United to the 2nd division, and B, City's goal was scored by Dennis Law, who was a legend at Manchester United before that. To add more salt to the wound, before that season, Dennis Law joined City on free transfer. City would win another League Cup in 1976, but this is where the club enters a decline, a long and painful decline that saw them relegated to the 3rd tier of English football. It was a massive fall from grace from a club that won the league title and the FA Cup multiple times, but City had to pick themselves up. In 1999, after a dramatic playoff match against Gillingham, City were promoted to the 2nd tier, and they would go straight into the Premier League in their first season in 2000. But City would only last for 1 season in the Premier League, but they would be promoted again in 2002 and stay up ever since. For decades, Main Road was Manchester City's home stadium, where the club tasted both amazing glories and painful defeats. But in 2003, the current Etihad Stadium was built with a much larger capacity, and that takes us to the Sheikh Mansour takeover years later. In 2008, even the most optimistic City fans could have never imagined the future that their new owner, Sheikh Mansour, had in store for them. At the time, many top football players were hesitant to join the new Manchester City. I personally remember how my Milan accepted a massive offer from City to sign Kaká in 2008, just for Kaká himself to refuse the move. At the time, I actually celebrated the failed transfer as a victory of football over money. But what did I know at the time? I was quite naive. That being said, the floodgates would open after Robinho, who was a world-class player at the time, moved to City from Real Madrid, and the rest was history, or at least a history that people like to remember. A history that many people believe started from this moment. Alright, let's take a look at all the trophies before the takeover. Now, I'm not saying that they have the European pedigree of Real Madrid, Liverpool, or Milan, but that is still quite a respectable history. That being said, let's talk about the white elephant in the room. Did Manchester City buy their success? Well, of course they did. What do you think the answer was gonna be? But I will say this as well, they are a brilliantly well-run club behind the scenes. Gotta give credit where it's due, but the massive financial advantage can't be ignored here. All Pep Guardiola needs to do is ask for his next toy, and it'll be wrapped in a gift box in front of him. That being said, it's silly to say that Manchester City have no history before the takeover, and I tried my best to do an objective video about their history. I'm Football Drawn, and I like to tell football stories with comic and drawings. If you enjoyed this video, check out the rest of the channel as well.